In this video, we'll talk about oiling and maintenance on your Highland 1501 Breeze embroidery machine. Oiling and maintenance on your embroidery machine is a very important part of being a successful operator. Oiling your machine and taking care of it will increase the life of it and ensure that your machine stays running properly and avoid the need for unwanted repairs and service calls. In this video, we're going to cover all of the daily and weekly oiling and maintenance points, all of which can also be found in the PDF documentation on mesatraining.com. To begin going through the oiling points and maintenance points on your machine, you are going to need an oiling pen, which is filled with sewing machine oil, as well as a flathead offset screwdriver, which can be found in the toolbox that came with your machine. Once you have both of these, we're ready to begin oiling your machine and hitting all the maintenance points. First place that we're going to look to oil on your machine is our WICK box, which is located on the right side of the machine. To access this, you're going to need to move the sewing head over to needle number 1, and this will expose the WICK box. There's a hole on the right side of this box that you can stick your oiling pen in and drop oil in there as needed. We want to maintain the WICK box about a third of the way filled, absolutely no more than halfway filled, as going more than this will lead to over-oiling on your machine. Second place that we're going to look to oil daily as well is on this silver plate where we'll find an oblong hole, again on the right side of the machine here. Inside this oblong hole, if I stick my oiling pen in there, I will begin to feel ever so slightly a shaft that I'm going to want to put a couple drops of oil on. This will oil the inner portion of my sewing head, make sure that all the parts are nice and lubricated inside. The next place that we're going to want to look to oil is our needle bars, which can be found right behind our take-up levers here on the front of our sewing head. To oil these, I'm going to place my oiling pen inside the gap in my take-up lever cover until I feel the needle bar right behind it. I'm going to squeeze my oiling pen so that way I place one drop right on the top of that needle bar, and I want to do this for all 15. I want to do one drop once per week. Any more than that will again lead to over-oiling on your machine. The last place that we're going to look to oil on your machine is the rotary hook. To access the rotary hook, I'm going to open up my rotary hook guard and take out my bobbin case. Make sure to keep it threaded when doing this so you don't have to go back and rethread it later. I'm just going to set it down here on the shelf below my machine. Here and now we see the rotary hook, and specifically you look down here on the bottom left side of it, there's a pointed tip. When oiling it, we're going to oil right above that pointed tip in a little groove of sorts. I'm going to place 2 drops of oil right in there. Once I do this, I will then pop my bobbin case back in and close up the cover. I want to oil the rotary hook once every 4 hours of use. So, meaning that if I am running the machine all day, I want to oil it once in the morning and once at the beginning of the afternoon to make sure that the rotary hook stays nice and lubricated for us. The last thing we'll want to do as part of our daily maintenance and cleaning of the machine is remove the needle plate and make sure it is clear of any lint or thread that may have gotten built up while sewing with the machine. To remove our needle plate, I'll need the offset flathead screwdriver that came in the toolbox, and I'll use this to remove both of the flathead screws that are holding the needle plate in place. Once I have these screws a little loose, I can use my finger to then remove them the rest of the way. I'll remove the second screw. Once I have those screws out, I can then lift off the needle plate and set it down below. And this will expose the top of my rotary hook and the movable knife, which trims the thread for us. To clean this out, I'll take a can of compressed air, simply blow out any of the lint or thread that was built up. And once I have it clean, then put my needle plate back on. And after securing it with the screws, I'm ready to begin embroidering with my machine again. We've just covered all of the oiling and maintenance procedures on your Highland 1501 Breeze embroidery machine. And in addition to all that we've covered, you want to make sure and keep your machine clean, free of debris and dust from top to bottom, as anything unwanted on your machine can lead to problems down the line when you are embroidering something. Other key pieces of maintenance on your machine is one, replacing your bobbin case. You'll want to replace your bobbin case every 3 to 6 months or after any time that you drop it onto a hard surface, such as if you're threading the bobbin and drop it onto the floor. This will damage the metal and prevent your bobbin from flowing properly. The last thing you'll want to do is replace your needles, roughly every 40 hours of use or based on symptoms you might be having, such as repeated thread breaks on a particular needle. Once you've ruled out all other options, be it tension or threading, the needle may be just a thing that you need to replace that'll get you up and sewing properly. All of these maintenance and oiling procedures can be found, again, on mesatraining.com, as there's ample amounts of documentation on there that will walk you through all the steps needed to take care of your embroidery machine.